Welcome. Welcome to my channel. I'm excited about giving you a tour of my tiny house village, USA. My village, it's fictional, a figment of my imagination. Oh, it's a quiet village somewhere, I guess, where I'd like to live. As you watch the video, you can imagine your village where you'd like to be located. By way of introduction, I'm known in these parts as Grandpa Sam, a 92-year young person with, a love of trains. My connection with trains began back during the Great Depression. That's long before you were born. During that time, I lived with my grandparents, and my grandfather had a wonderful job working for the Union Pacific Railroad in Grand Island, Nebraska. I'll always remember the days that he took me out to the roundhouse, and I got to watch the mechanics work on those big old steam engines. How massive they were to a young boy. I have many, many memories of those days living by the Union Pacific Railroad tracks. As I grew older, I pursued many different careers, but I always loved the sound of the bells and whistles of trains. I tell you, you cannot beat the sound of those old whistles on the old steam engines. During COVID, we were advised to remain sheltered in. So one day, I was looking at a blank corner of my desk, and an idea hit me. Why don't I just build a small HO railroad track right here on my desk? That's when my new venture began. My goal was to build a simple, non-traditional, economic layout that I could have many, many hours of enjoyment, not only building it, but switching cars and trains around. Because I'd had limited space. There was just so much that I could get in. But I guess that's enough talk about me. So let's begin our tour of the tiny house village. I hope you have as much fun watching it as I did building it. So here we go. All aboard! I would like to begin our tour with a brief overview of the tiny house village. My only regret about my layout is that I was having so much fun constructing and designing that I forgot to take step-by-step pictures along the way. I will try to walk us through each step in the process during our tour. I did not make any pre-building designs or plans, and the village grew each step by step into what it is today. So come along now as we take a closer view of the building process. Remember, I'm trying to construct a simple, inexpensive HO layout. So, where do you begin? Well, first you have to imagine my desk having a space of about 40 inches available on each side, forming a square. Well, the first thing I did was I went out and bought a little entry-level train. And the train consisted of a small engine, tender, some cars, and even a caboose. I really was quite surprised at the detail that the little engine had, and it worked very well at slow speeds, fast speeds. The track that came with the set, of course, was an easy track, and that formed a circle of about 38 inches. So you could see that I had very, very little space left on my desk. But that at least gave me an idea of what I could do inside to form a village. For my elevation, I went out and purchased a large styrofoam block. I took it outside and began carving out the mountains. And I say you need to take it outdoors because it is really quite messy. But when I was satisfied with the shape of the mountains that I had formed, I went into the garage and I found some stucco repair cement. And I just took my hands and just splattered that around on the styrofoam to form the crevices and valleys of the mountains. After that was completely dried, I went out and took some acrylic paint, thinned way down, and the different colors just one after the other. I just poured over the top of the mountains and let it just naturally run into the valleys and the crevices to get the colors and the shapes in there that I wanted. I was very, very happy with the outcome of the mountains, and having just a little bit of styrofoam left over, I placed it at the base of the mountains where we'll look at it closer in a little bit. And that was an area that I could begin placing some tiny houses. And so we'll try to look at that at the next step. After placing the mountains and the railroad track on my desktop, I then began concentrating on building some buildings. So the first building I built was the market. I found some wood around the shop, put together my idea of a little market, and you'll notice on the side it says hiring. So there are jobs available. I next found in the shop a couple of birdhouses that I had not completed, so I cut them down to size, and from those birdhouses I was able to build a post office. Next to that, a barber shop, and you'll note the awning on the barber shop is actual awning from an old umbrella, and the supports are coat hanger wires. I then put together a fresh fruit and flower shop, and then with the wood left over, I built the Red Roof Cafe. You'll notice that the people are enjoying their meal, sitting around on the benches that have been placed there for them. But after just kind of roughly putting them in place on the set, I saw that around the corner I had just a small place available, so I built a service station and a market. The roads and the sidewalk around the mall, I cut those from pieces of lids that were on storage boxes, and I then painted and distressed those and glued them into place. That then gave me the idea of what space I had available for houses. Over behind the market, it's hard to see, but I needed a way of getting cars and people over behind the mountain. So I have a little one-way bridge, and that is taken from a Christmas decoration that I found in the garage. And that way cars can get back over there. Hikers like to hike in that particular area, which is a very, very pleasant area to be in. I welcome you to the Tiny House Village housing unit. You'll notice that the fences were made out of craft sticks,
and the posts were toothpicks. Each house was designed with a little different shape, sizes. Each one had a little different paint scheme. Some of them even had solar. As a community, I placed a community church, and it had a nice little location for that. I had houses on both sides of the street, and that takes us back over to the little bridge that takes you over into the water tower area. I had just a little bit of space left within my 36-inch circle, and over here I decided to place a auto sales yard, so that the people here in the village, if they wanted to buy a new car or have their cars repaired, they had the place to go. So this pretty much concludes my little village, and I'm happy to able to have an opportunity to show it to you.
Well, that's my village, USA. At the beginning, I told you I wanted to build a inexpensive, non-traditional, and my village is certainly non-traditional. None of my buildings replicate any other building, but they're my idea of a nice little mountain village that, again, that I enjoy residing in. As I told you before, the hobby of HO railroading can become very addictive. I thought I was going to be totally satisfied with my little tiny house village, but then I looked at the desk, and by removing some computers and some printers and so forth, I just happened to find another 2x4 spot. So I began extending it into what I call section 2. This I will highlight on my next video, which will be coming out soon. So I hope you enjoyed this particular video. It shows that you can have fun with not too large of an expense, and that was my goal. So thank you for watching, and keep on railroading.